Alright, I want to find the probability of winning a lottery with this following rule. I'm going to select 5 winning numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all the way to 25 in any order and no repeats. So in probability, when order does not matter, that's when we know we're going to use the combination formula. Well, how are we going to use the formula? The key is to find the probability that we won the lottery means that we take the number of ways we can win divided by the total number of outcomes. And in this case, your outcomes is how many different ways can you draw 5 numbers. You could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could have 1, 3, 7, 14, 25. You have a lot of different ways that you can pick 5 numbers. So the first thing then I want to do is figure that out, because I know how many ways you can win. You can only win one way, right? I mean, you have to have the winning tickets. So what I need to do then is set up my combination formula, which says, let me write it here, that I have a total number of values, and I'm going to choose them, so number chosen, are at a time. Well, in this case, our total number of values is our total numbers, and notice there's 25 of them. So my n in my example is going to be 25, and then the r is how many am I choosing at a time? Well, right there, they told you, you're picking 5. So I simply plug this into that formula, the n factorial over n minus r factorial times r factorial. So you have this formula that you take, and now you just plug everything into it. Well, there's an easier way, but let's go ahead. It's a good idea to understand the formula for the first time, so let's go ahead and go through it. So I see my n is 25 factorial over n minus r factorial r factorial. So all I've done is taken these values and plugged them in to my formula. Remember what the factorial symbol means. If I have 3 factorial, that means 3 times 2 times 1. If I have 4 factorial, that means 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So in other words, I'm multiplying from this number all the way to 1. Well, if I take the bottom, let's just leave the top alone. 25 minus 5 is 20 factorial. And so all I did was just subtract that. And you're going to see a reason why. 25 factorial is 25 times 24 times 23 times 22, 22 times 21 times 20, all the way down to 1. Well, isn't 20 factorial the same thing as all the way down to 1? And you're going to see why I'm doing that. Divided by this 20 factorial, 5 factorial. Now, I can cancel all that, which makes it nice because I don't have all those numbers I have to multiply. And so at the bottom, let's just write my 25 times 24 times 23, 22, 21. On the bottom, all I have left is 5 factorial, which is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So what I could do is, just to make it a little bit easier, I could do some canceling. 5 goes into 25, 5. I mean, I don't have to do this. I could go ahead and multiply it out, but I want to try to make this look a little bit easier to solve. 4 goes into 24 6 times. 2 could go into 22 11 times. 3 could go into 21 7 times. And you see what happened? I got rid of the denominator. So now all I have to do is multiply 5 times 6 times 23 times 11 times 7. So I get my old trusty calculator out and I multiply those values, and I get 53,130. So my answer then is there is the probability that I won this lottery. There's one way to win out of 53,130 ways to pick those 5 numbers out of 25. Now, as I mentioned, there's a much easier way to do the combination formula in your calculators and or in Excel. I'll talk about Excel as well. But if you're using a TI 83 or 84 and you press, let me put a line here, and you press the math button and then you arrow over to where it says PRB for probability, and you arrow down, look at number 3. That's my formula. Well, how you would do something like this, remember mine was 25 taken 4 at a time. I would press math, I would arrow over to, I first would type 25 in my calculator. I would then press the math button. I would arrow over to probability, PRB. I would go down to the 3 NCR and press enter, and you'll see that show up. And now I type the number 4 and I press enter. I'm sorry, I would do 5. I don't know where did I get 4 from? Have no clue. In fact, I just put an R there. So it's 25. I'm taking 5 numbers at a time. And so after I type the 5 and press enter, you should get that same answer. So 25 total objects, math, arrow over to probability, down to my combinations, and you can see right above it is permutations if you need it. And then type the number 5. So what I'm doing, I'm typing this number, getting this formula, and then typing that number, and I get the same answer. So it's a very quick way to find combinations. Now, Excel also has, if you're using an Excel formula, so here's Excel, you can just simply type COMBIN. In other words, what I've done is I have opened a blank Excel spreadsheet, and I just simply type in an equal sign. Then I type in COMBIN, I type in open parentheses, and now I put the total, comma, the number chosen, and then I close the parentheses, and when you press enter, guess what number you'll get? 53,130. So no matter what technique, I mean, this that you saw me do up here above is nice to know how this is working, but you want to get to a point where you're using technology in this course. Otherwise, you're going to email me and say, Cindy, I'm spending 10 hours every day on this homework. Then that tells me you're not utilizing your technology, and that's what I'm here for. You know, shoot me a message. Hey, is there a faster way to work these problems? This one, certainly there is. So I hope this video helped.